Welcome back to the Morning Brew. We've had wine. That's always a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Amber
Lovely
Hendon,
wine.
Larry Aronson.
I
The
like
rosé
the
was very nice.
Yeah, I really like it. It's my new favorite.
Yeah, really. In the warm weather, it's perfect, perfect. And we've still got a lot of summer to go.
We do.
So,
at least till October.
At least.
It's gonna be.
all right, now we've taken care of the wine. Now let's take care of your money. It's a real pleasure to welcome to our show a good old friend of mine. I've featured Judy Lawrence on the radio show for many, many years, and it's good to see you again, Judy.
Thank you. I know.
Man, it's been a long time.
It's been a very long time, and still around, still doing the budgeting work.
Judy's an author, and for lack of a better term, you're a money coach.
Yes.
Personal
yes.
finances.
Yes.
And how many books have you written now?
Oh, about 3 or 4, and this
Yeah.
particular book, The Budget Kit, I mean,
Okay.
that one's been out the longest. It's in its 4th decade. This is the one you interviewed me on many years ago.
Yes.
Still in the bookshelf, still out there, 6th edition, and still doing well, right?
Well, congrats on that.
Thank you, thank you.
And how did you get into this whole money coach thing that you do?
Well, the money coaching, it just started, well, when I started writing the book. I mean, I was just writing a book because there was a real need for something like that. And then that just led into people wanting me to do workshops, wanting me to help them out. And next thing I know, I was like going into their homes and helping them actually work through their personal budgets. And the theme behind all of my work, I realized that I've had other passions going on, and that passion has always been about eliminating waste, especially the waste of money. If you're not managing your money well, it just starts trickling away, and what can we do about that? So I've always helped people coach, or I coach people about managing their money. But then on the side, I've started writing a blog article about waste and recycling and repurposing. And then I'll take a lot of different stories and I'll tie them into, okay, let's come back to our personal finances now, and how can we take that idea and apply it to our finances.
And you have now been working on a blog, and it incorporates the concepts of nature
Yes.
into the financial realm.
It's been fun because I discovered this biomimicry, bio-inspired design. I had never heard of it before, and I loved it because it's the idea of nature never wastes anything, and what can we learn from nature? So I thought, okay, how do I blend my money history, but my love for recycling and nature and repurposing? So I thought, why don't I write about what can nature teach us about money? And so I've been doing blog articles for a number of months now, and always relating it to something about nature.
So what is your latest blog about?
Well, my latest blog that just came out last week, that one is Dirty Money, turning chicken, worm, and cow manure or cow doo into dough, cow poo into dough. And so I talk about 3 different stories. I talk about the idea of, well, yes, chickadee doo-doo. I love the chickadee doo-doo story. This is a brother and sister, John and Katie Weiss in Wisconsin. They started this business called Chickadee Doo-Doo because in Wisconsin, you know, lots of places, they have these big poultry farms.
Right.
Well, you know, you have a little flock of 100 little hens, and they produce 20 to 34 pounds of manure a day. And after a while, this manure becomes a problem. So they decided to be creative. Like, what can we do? Because in the future, we can't just be throwing manure out in the fields like we used to do. So they created this little chickadee doo-doo fertilizer. It's an organic process. It's a patented process. And at first, it used to be sold to the golf courses around the country, and now they sell it to consumers nationwide. And it's just a fun name, Chickadee Doo-Doo. And so that was the first story that I heard about. And then I thought, well, then I heard about TerraCycle, which is taking worm poop and turning that into like a liquid fertilizer.
Yeah, the black gold.
The black gold.
That is the good stuff.
And we've probably heard TerraCycle. I mean, they started off in the early 2000s. Tom Zaki was a freshman at Princeton. This is great. You know, we're in our entrepreneurial thing now here in Albuquerque. He was a young freshman, and he was trying to find an idea for his business plan contest. And he was visiting his friends, and his friends were throwing all the food scraps into a compost bin. And the worms were just eating up all the food scraps. And then they'd take all this fertilizer, and they would take it and fertilize all their plants. Well, the articles I read back in the early 2000s, these plants were marijuana plants. And so they were having great plants.
They need fertilizer.
They need fertilizer. And he got this idea, why don't I take worm poop and turn it into a liquid fertilizer, which he ultimately did. And this company has since, I mean, his whole idea is how do we take waste and convert it into something else. And he now is taking waste of all kinds, from dirty diapers to cigarette butts to everything else, and recycling it. So it's a fascinating story about how he's taken waste and changed it. But it all started with little worm poop, which is still out there, as a fertilizer.
And you can get worm farms, online for like $75.
Right.
And they come in little trays. I know because my husband wants my son to be an entrepreneur. He's 5, but he wants him to
Yes.
open his own business and get that sense of like how important it is to be an entrepreneur and so yes, we have this grand design that Andreas will develop his secret special sauce for the organic farming that goes on in our
that
neighborhood.
story. In fact, in their dorm room, they used to have buckets of about 10,000 worms in there. So just your son's doing the same thing. He's already getting started.
Yes, well, it is liquid gold. It's
It is.
really, really good,
Very
for,
good.
For the crops.
And then the third one in that same theme, turning poo into dough, there was a story on Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe on the Discovery Channel. And there are these two farmers, the Freunds in Connecticut, who took cow manure. The cows produce 120 pounds of manure a day, so that's a lot of manure. Took all that cow manure and eventually converted it into what they call cow pots. So you now have 100% biodegradable cow pots made out of 100% recycled manure. But you can take these pots and then have little seedlings that you plant in there under the light, and eventually take the whole plant, put it in the ground. It'll decompose quickly, like 3 times faster than the other things, and so you get fertilizer back in the ground. So then it's like, okay, well now how do we turn that into money for ourselves? And so in my blog article I'm saying, well, what do you have? What kind of dirty money do you have? Like maybe you have a lot of land that you can rent out your land for people to store their boats or put their campers or something for the winter, or maybe you can, some people rent out their land for soybean plants or whatever. And it's just like, be creative, or what kind of scrap metal do you have laying around that you could just turn in for some cash? So it's getting us to think a little bit more innovatively.
And creatively.
Creatively.
And do it. And actually
absolutely
do it.
Do it, yes. So that was one story. That's my latest story that I did.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Gotta check
So
that out.
I have fun. I mean, I have fun, looking at how can we stop wasting money and resources and turn it into something
You
else.
still coach people on money?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do workshops on creating and maintaining budgets. I'm still doing that. I work a lot with couples, individuals, entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs, especially also pre-retirement people, with managing their money more effectively. So yes, I'm still doing that. And
Well, how about that? It all sort of ties together, doesn't
But
it?
it's good because it gets you thinking
Yeah,
Yes.
it does.
about what do I have? What can I do? Instead of,
Yeah.
oh, woe is me, or the government's going to support me, or whatever. It's like, what can I do?
I love it.
I love it
Yes.
too.
Judy, it's so good to see you
Really
again.
great information.
Thank you.
It's about time we had you on the show. and
yes, I
I'm
know.
really
It's
Come
been
back
fun.
again,
I
often.
will. I
Would you?
will. Yeah. I'll bring
need
you
your
lots of
help.
stories. Yes.
Judy Lawrence, money coach, and talking about money and nature. Fascinating topic. It's great stuff today. Thanks
Thank
again
you.
for being
Thank you very much.
here. There's more on the Morning Brew right after this.